Hello everyone, welcome to day 148 of playing chess every day for you. Let's find the game. We're starting as black, and we get d4, so I'll play d5, get knight to f3. I could bring the bishop out, I could develop my own knight. I think bishop f5 looks good, knight to c3 does also. I'll play knight to c3 first, I just want to control the center. Bishop to f4 is my opponent's move. I could just play e6 and try to develop slowly. I do like bishop to f5 for myself, then we have a very symmetrical position. I think I should just bring out my bishop to f5 and then play e6. My bishop will be trapped if I play e5, e6 right now. So I think I should just bring out my bishop at the moment. Then e6 will be my next move. I'll just play e6 here. I can go to trade off this bishop. The bishop goes for my queen. I can't take it. I could just block with my own knight, but that would just walk into a pin. I could play this move and force the bishop away. This move would force the bishop away. It would weaken my king, but I think I'm able to long castle this game. I think I might actually play f6 here. If the bishop goes here, I'm starting an attack on the knight. I'll play f6. Kick the bishop away. If I go here, the knight has just an escape. I could trade the bishop off now, but I don't have to. I could actually strike the center now, because I have 3 defenders in the center. I could strike the center with e5. There would be 3 attackers on the pawn though, but I'd have 3 defenders. I do like e5 though. I'm targeting the center. I'm trying to force the knight away into a bad square. If I'm able to take her, I'd have a check, so I'd be happy about that. My opponent takes. I'm not sure what. It's probably best to take with the bishop here because that comes with the threat of taking this. Taking with the knight doesn't threaten that much. I take, they take, and it's just a trade. Taking with the bishop's probably the best move. They have to defend this pawn. They probably have to push. I will take with the bishop. This is weak and this is weak, but I can always defend this bishop by sliding up with my queen. I think next I need to start developing my other knight. My bishops are very active. That knight is pinned. I can completely destroy my structure here. So my opponent's attacking this pawn. If I simply kick the bishop away now though, maybe I just play knight to e7, develop the piece, hold everything. Kicking the bishop away now doesn't seem so good. I mean, I can just trade off this bishop now. I could also take here, but that just seems bad. So my opponent's threatening to take and then take here, winning a pawn. So I'll actually take here first. My queen isn't pinned, so I don't have to worry about my opponent taking. If they play a move like this, I could just go back. I could develop... No, I can't develop the knight at the moment. I can go to kick this knight away. The check doesn't work, unfortunately, because the knight's there. Can just go back. But if I go back, my opponent can actually win a pawn. I can counterattack this bishop, but then that would lose a pawn. I could just break the pin with my queen, but then I'd lose the bishop. I need to attack one of my opponent's pieces. Bishop here, if they take. After I recapture, obviously they win the pawn. I really don't like that. I don't really have a choice though. Otherwise I have to give up the bishop. I'll just go back. So yeah, the idea is that my opponent's actually attacking the rook. This is pinned. I'm actually in trouble here. Because my knight's pinned to my king. My opponent's actually threatening this as well. It's a huge threat. I think I actually can't take her. I'm in big trouble. If I recapture, I think I just lose this rook. So I lose a rook and a pawn. I can't recapture the knight. Knight e7 stops my opponent from winning a rook. I don't see what else I have. I'm down material now. I couldn't just take the knight because then I'd lose a pawn and the rook, which I really don't want. That'd ruin my position. If the bishop takes, the knight takes now, I just recapture. My next move has to be to capture this or to attack this bishop, so I have to play a6. They could just trade now and ruin my structure, and that's what they go for. I could recapture with the pawn. If I take like this, they can just move their knight. If I take this way, the knight has to leave. If I take with the pawn though, I can't even castle long because my king will be so weak. I'm wondering whether I take with the knight or with the pawn. Taking with the pawn means the knight has to move. It has to leave. It could just even leave here because the queen would recapture. I mean, they can ruin my structure anyway, so. Wow, so my opponent had to check here. I am seeing I have this move. But if the knight takes, that would hang my rook. I'm in big trouble here. Huge trouble. So if I play bishop here, my opponent can just take. And if I recapture, that hangs my rook, so I can't actually play bishop there. If I step my king up here, that's just mate. If I step my king up here, there's check. I'm completely lost right now. If I step here, there's a check. And then if I step here, there's discovered check on my king. I'm just completely lost. I'm quite sure I can't play bishop g6 because that just loses the bishop. I think I have to play king up. And while I can run my king to safety. I'm completely losing right now. So my opponent does go for that. The only move is to step here. Now there's a discovered check with the knight on my king winning a knight and then attacking my queen. It's terrible for me. Taking with the knight probably is best. But it doesn't actually win material because I take with the king. The knight is hanging right now. Discovered check there to win the rook. Now I think blocking with the bishop is best. Or blocking with the knight is best to attack the queen. If I block this way and the bishop takes, or if I block here, the knight can take and I'm in trouble. I'll just go for this. I'm completely lost anyway. My opponent's queen is hanging. The knight is hanging two ways. The queen is hanging. If they take my rook, I take the queen. The queen has to move and the queen is almost trapped. Bishop takes. Oh, I think I lose my bishop, but so bishop takes. My bishop hangs, but so does the knight at least. The knight is actually trapped, which is good for me. If my opponent takes, I take, and they win a pawn. They'd be up 3 points of material. Oh wow, they take the rook. So knight's fully trapped now. I could take it. Could go for this move. Then the queen takes. This move allows the knight an escape. I think I lose the bishop, whatever I do. I'd love to take here, but the rook just takes. There's nothing there. I can take here and just start attacking the queen. Or do I just lose all my pawns? And it's terrible for me. I have to just lose the material. I'm completely losing. Down 2 pieces on the pawn. Queen up isn't even possible because that would hang the queen. If I bring the rook, all the pawns hang. G5 is hanging. If my opponent just castles and brings their rook, like, I'm completely lost. I am either way, but... So if I go here... There are no checks, but... The queen also has to move. Oh, the problem with going here is the queen can always go here. If I go here... I can almost force a queen trade. If I chase the queen this way, the queen can just go here. I have to keep my queen on the board, I have no choice. The queen goes here, I just develop. The queen's not trapped, it does only have h4 as a square though. Can't go here, here, here. Can go there, but I'm also down on time as well. Down 4 minutes on the clock. My opponent's up a piece and a rook, so 8 points of material. I would say my pawn structure is better because I have a majority on this side, but down so much material means that there's nothing I can really do. So if I can actually block with the rook here, and the queen has to move. But then if I block with the rook and the queen just steps up, this will always be a weakness. The queen goes up. I can double up on this pawn. Now the queen's threatening to come in, but that's after I play queen g7. But I think queen g7 is the best move, because I'm threatening to take here, and then also come in on the back rank, which would win me material. Oh wow, my opponent actually castles. Could go for this, the queen will have this square. I'd love to stop pushing this pawn to be annoying, but h5 doesn't even work. Although h5 right now actually does work, the queen can't take. Develops the knight, threatens a check. But developing the knight like that also... I see I do have an attack on the knight. If I push there's a check. I can stop the check. And then I could... It's very annoying. I'll simply stop the check for now. I am seeing that if I push e4 I'm attacking the knight, but... I think queen f3 is a massive blunder. Because even though it's lining up to attack my pawn, if I push e4 now, not only is the queen hanging, but the knight is also hanging. So, e4 attacking both pieces. They can just give me a check though. Yeah, that's the problem. e4 would be such an amazing move if the queen didn't have a check. I'm not sure what the best move now is. Blocking with my own queen really doesn't help me in any way. I have to keep material on the board. King c6 and then the knight hangs, but King c6 looks good. I have to remember that now not only is the knight hanging, I have a check here. The knight's hanging, so it has to move. I do have a check on g2 right now. The queen defends, I take the knight. So, I think I can win some material here. I think after check, there's nothing really there. Although the check looks very dangerous, the rook being there just stops anything on the back rank, so if I could force the rook away, then that would be very dangerous for my opponent. It would actually be mate. This rook's been there the whole game. The knight hangs and g2 hangs. I'll see what my opponent plays. My opponent sacrifices their knight. But I'm wondering if I take here now and the king moves, I'll be able to take like this, winning 4 points of material. So taking the knight now, obviously, is not good. It's just a check. I'll take up there first. The king steps over. Now I'm seeing that rook g4 seems like a great move. My opponent does have a way to force a trade. So rook g4, if check, rook g4, if check, I actually don't have to recapture the queen. I think rook g4 is a way to attack my opponent. I'll play rook g4. If they play this, I can't trade. But if I step up, I could step this way. But then there's this check. I think I just step down this way. There is this check, but then I just run. So my opponent can force the rooks off the board. Right now the knight and queen are hanging, threatening to win the knight. Taking the queen first would be a big blunder. I'd lose a rook and my queen. I don't think knight check is a good move. I can just escape. Although that does give this check. And then I have to run once again. And then there'd be another check almost. I guess just forcing a queen trade is the best option for my opponent, and that's what they do. They do give a check attacking this. I think stepping up would be the right option. Better than stepping down. This attacks my rook, but I can just move my rook. If they go here, it's actually a fork, which is very annoying. That just activates my king. Rook over. Is b4 a move? Or b5? It is. A rook trade does not help me at all. If they come in to attack this, I'm in trouble. I'd have to push. They go for this pawn instead. There actually is this check, which is very annoying. And unless I play c5, I actually don't have a way to attack this rook. Because of the knight. I have to play c5. I have to force this knight to leave. It goes to attack my rook. If I go here, I'm threatening to win this. So right now I'm pinning the knight to f2. My goal is to force this rook away. The rook steps up. I think this lets me play a5 and a4. My idea is very simple. Them pushing would be very annoying, but I'd be able to play just... So I could take. I don't see why I wouldn't take. Could push, and if they push, I take. But then I think I'm too slow. I think I just take. Don't see why I wouldn't. Here's a check. I can step here. But then if I step here, there's this check, which is mate. Wow. I just walked into a mating net, I think. If I step to d4, there's checkmate on d5. I'll resign. Good game to my opponent. My opponent played very well. My opponent played a 90.7. I played at a 78.9 and I was completely losing the entire game. I had 3 mistakes. I played like a 1500, my opponent like an 1850. I played d5. My opening was all good. Although e5 was a mistake, I should have played h5. So I should have taken with the knight. I was thinking about taking with the knight. And that's actually what happened. I took with the bishop and this allowed the bishop to pin my knight. I shouldn't have taken on b2. And I should have actually given up the bishop. Because if I played h5 and they took, I'd have this move. And the bishop would actually be trapped. h5 they take, I have this move. Then they have to play just castles as the best move. Wow. And then I have to take. And it's a wet position. I actually should have just taken the knight and given up the rook. The best move would be knight f6. Wow, knight f6 actually blocks. Oh no. I missed knight f6. Wow, after recaptures and check. After recaptures and bishop takes, I missed knight f6, which blocks the bishop from winning the rook. And although I'm actually completely losing, the material is equal. And I have chances this game. I missed that. Instead, I actually took with the, I just played knight e7, which was completely wrong. I completely missed knight to f6, to be honest. And then taking with the knight was a mistake. I had to just take with the pawn, like I said. Queen check's quite good. I have to run my king. And then the rest of the game, all my moves were actually quite good. Should have actually pushed. Because pushing would threaten long term my queen coming to g2. And yeah, forcing a queen trade just wins the game for my opponent, to be honest. There's nothing I can do. And so taking was a huge mistake. I actually had to push. My opponent already calculated ahead. They played knight to e3 check, which wins the game because even if I step to d4, there's just this rook check, which wins the game. So very well played to my opponent. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching and I'll see you tomorrow.